Okay, everybody, here we are for our monthly squad call, and it is a very special call tonight. I'm going to hand the call over to Joy, who will do the proper introduction. So, Joy, take it away.
Thanks, Jackie. So I am so excited for tonight's call. And many of you know that I've posted and I've shared with you about my coaching experience with Amy. And I'm so happy, Amy, that you're a yes to being on this call tonight, because everybody else is going to get to experience you as well. And maybe if it's even for 35 minutes, 40 minutes, but they'll get the essence of who you are. And I am so grateful to Amy, because since working with Amy, there's been incredible shifts, just not just in business, in my life, in awareness, in breakthroughs. And I had said before in a post that Amy is, to me, the whole package. She's a mindset coach, she's a personal coach, she's a business coach, she's a branding coach. And how awesome is it to have that whole package to be able to work with, so you don't have to be seeking other support, even though it's wonderful to have coaches. So let me tell you a little bit about Amy. And all our calls are fun, and I learned so much, and there's an incredible connection that I have with her. So Amy's been an entrepreneur and doing this for over 20 years. She's a mom to a beautiful, she's 5 years old, Michaela, Amy?
Yeah.
Beautiful 5-year-old daughter. She's a wife, and she's authored a book. Amy is an incredible coach to celebrities. And I'm just going to throw a couple names, or one name. Let's say one name for now. Nia Peoples. She's been featured in Martha Stewart Radio, CBS, or is it ABC? Amy? I mean, I know you're like, oh,
I hate it when people do this, but
I know, yes. But I want to say it. I want to say it because I want to edify you. She's been featured in the New York Times, Teen and Women's World. I mean, this is a woman that has, walks the walk and talks the talk. And I'm just thrilled to have her here with us tonight. And what we're going to do is a very informal kind of, it's not really even a training. I'm going to ask Amy some questions. I would love for you, Amy, to share a little bit with everyone about who you are, other than being this incredible, you've become a friend to me. Amy's also a vegan, so we have that in common. But can you share a little bit more about what you do and who are the kind of people that you help? Like, who would be somebody that would be seeking you out?
Well, first, thank you so much for letting me be on this call. So I appreciate it so much. And I feel like that was a very heartfelt, sweet introduction, and I appreciate it so much. It's embarrassing to hear those things, but I have to, as we all women do, remember to own the things that we've accomplished, because I work really hard in working with women to learn how to own who they are and step into their own power. So I would be a total hypocrite if I didn't just accept it and say thank you so much. So Joy, thank you. And I feel the same way about you, and ditto, ditto, ditto. You are a very special person, and I can tell as I sit and have listened to everybody who's come on the call so far, they're so excited to be here. You could feel that right at the top, and the support that you have in Jackie, and I'm just totally honored to be here, so thank you. So about me, I don't really want to talk about me. I really want to talk about all of you. It's a much more comfortable space for me. So I'll say this. I am a bit badass, if it's okay if I swear.
You can totally.
At helping people get moving in their life and in their business. And the same principles that I use to help people get moving in their business are the exact same steps and principles that I use for them to make differences in their personal life. It's all the same, because underneath we have real issues, real core challenges that prevent us from playing our biggest game, or stepping into our biggest self, or owning our power, or whatever the term is that you want to use. There's two reasons why we either get or don't get what we want in our lives. It's the way that you think, and it's what you do, your behavior. And so whenever I'm working with anyone, that's what I'm studying. I know what your goals are. I ascertain all of that, and so that I can understand who you are and that core fabric of what your gifts are and what you're trying to put out there in the world. But at the end of the day, I'm evaluating the way that you think and the actions that you take so that we can shift and change the ones that aren't working for you, because that's it. That's everything. So it's not enough to say, oh, well, you have a scheduling or time management issue. It's so much more than that, because your schedule is a reflection of your life and how you spend your time. And if you're not honoring it and you're not doing certain things to give yourself the time, space, and energy to do the things that you need to do or that you say that you want to do, then we have to deal with that. So we deal with fear. It's a real big issue of mine. Even the most incredibly courageous and who appear to be fearless people are afraid as soon as you get them stepping outside of their comfort zone. And I believe that fear is part of the process. So my philosophy is not get rid of the fear. It's be afraid and do it anyway. And let me show you how to do that, because we get crippled by fear. Confidence, another big message in my workings with other people. It's not something, confidence isn't like this thing that you're going to wake up one day and go, whoa, I feel so confident. So we wait, right? But we wait to do things and to take chances and to take action. And one day, because one day we're going to feel confident, but no, we aren't. We get confident by taking the actions, making a fool out of ourselves, doing things that are scary and getting better at them. And that's when the confidence comes. So my job is to really push you or whomever I'm dealing with to take those steps that lead to massive transformation in real time, not like someday. It's not about talking about it. It's about actually doing the things that matter the most so that you can get the traction and the movement that you want. So that's a little bit about me. Is that where you wanted me to go, Joy?
Yes, I did. And actually, as you were talking, Amy, I was remembering in one of our calls, and you're masterful at when you do one-on-one calls. You're such a great listener that's been such a great process for me, that every time I share something with you, you're able to catch stuff that I don't even know. And some of us have done a lot of personal growth, and it's you don't know what you don't know, and you don't even know that you don't know it.
Yeah.
And you're so great at bringing that to light in so many of our calls. So one of the exercises you had me do, and I would love for you to share a little bit with the team, is mind dump. Can you talk a little bit about the mind dump and maybe walk them through it a little bit?
Yes, I have allergies. I'm sorry, everybody. Yeah, as a matter of fact, can I share where we were at?
You know what, Amy, this is just so you know, with everyone here, I love it, and I make it where vulnerability is really powerful, and you know we've talked about that too. I'm totally open for you sharing anything other than my personal life that I shared with you.
I understand. So I won't get into the details.
Yeah, anything at all. This is a great platform. This is a safe place for us to share, so that's fine.
Okay. Well, I think this isn't that different than what we've all experienced and continue to experience at different times. But, we hit those points where we are feeling totally overwhelmed. And we can't get any traction anywhere because there's so much to do and you don't know what to do and what to do first. And we've given ourselves, these are like self-imposed to-do items and ideas and concepts about what your goals are and what you want to achieve. And I've got this book that I want to write, and and you could go on and on and on, and then you just shut down. Can anybody relate to that? Right? So that you're like, so brain dumping, it's a pretty common concept, but the idea is that we need to really identify what needs to happen now and what we need to postpone for the future. So what I had Joy do was brain dump everything she was feeling overwhelmed about, and all the things that were on her plate. All right. And I would definitely welcome all of you to do this exercise. So the first question you'd ask yourself, I wouldn't necessarily start doing it right this moment, but is, what have I committed to? What do I think I'm going to do? What are my goals? And not just future goals, but literally what are all my commitments that are on my plate? Like I'm going to be, I don't know how much of this, Joy, should I go?
No, yes, you could share.
I'm getting my real estate license, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Let's look at what needs to happen in this next year. first we brain dump all that stuff, because once you get that crap out of your head, it's like freedom. You got to get it out of your head. Then you got to figure out what you're going to do with it. Otherwise it kind of creeps back in, and then it is so paralyzing to have all that information in your brain. Nobody can process all that information. So you need to just kind of vomit it out. Sorry to be gross, but you got to get it all out onto paper and then start to look at it. All right, I hear you. You're going to write a book. Is that something that you imagine, like, given what we've talked about, given what your goals are, is that something you're going to do in the next 6 months? And then all of a sudden you start to go, no, it's not. I'm not even going to tackle that until next year. Great. That goes on the future goals paper. And the reason it goes on the future goals paper, and I'm going to show you these papers. This is what it looks like. This is my daily to-do list. And I'm showing you this because I want you to see that you can be archaic in your approach to getting shit done. These things are very helpful, but you want to have a to-dos future list. And the reason to have that future list is so it's not up here weighing on you. Like, oh, the book, I haven't started the book. Oh, I haven't. No, I wrote it down and I realized that I'm not doing that right now. So we realized that in Joy's case, okay, I totally get it on the real estate thing, but not right now. Let's tackle that next year because you're overwhelmed right now. So let's look at all the things that are on your plate today, the stuff that matters today, that's going to make a difference now over the course of the next 6 months to a year. And then we can revisit all of these other things. So the philosophy here is, everyone, you can do it all. I really believe that. But not today and not tomorrow in your lifetime. Yes. But we have these ridiculous expectations of ourselves. And, it's because we're women and we really can do more than men. Let's be honest.
We have men on the call too.
I know. And I was just going to say, well, no, here's the thing. See, men have it right. And where men have it right is they're not multitaskers. They are focused on the task at hand. And so they're able to complete it. And this is something that us women need to learn from men. And so this is why this is so important. Multitasking, I'm going to tell you right now, I hate it. I don't believe in it, and I don't think it's a good thing. So that's a whole training we can do. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the brain dump as a technique for you to get all the stuff that is weighing you down out of your brain onto a piece of paper so that you can look at it and go, is this now, meaning in the next year, or is it later? Does that make sense, everyone?
Yes. And you know what, Amy, everyone's muted, and I'd like to share a little bit about my experience with the brain dump with you.
Yeah, please.
So, okay. Are you guys good with that? If I share it? Okay. And I just want to cover something with the men too, because I know Tyson's on the call and some other men are, some of the other men are going to be listening to it. And it's so true when you say that they are focused at the task at hand. And I hear this feedback. I heard it today, actually, when I was so excited about all this stuff with like sanctuary, the sanctuary and the mini horses and isogenics we spoke about today and all this stuff that's going on. And I shared it with Lenny because, I spoke to you about Lenny, and he's like, wait. I can't figure you out. There's so many things you're handling. I just could handle one thing at a time, Joy. Slow down. And I don't realize it, that's as women, we get so passionate about that. So Tyson, thanks for being with us today. I know we can't see you right now, and you're not feeling well, but thanks for joining the women's group tonight here. But the mind dump. So basically, I loved how Amy did it because she literally was like, okay, what's occupying your mind right now? And I would say the sanctuary. I want to create a sanctuary. She goes, okay, write it down. What else? And then I'm like, I want to get my real estate license. She's like, okay, write it down. So by the time I kept spewing out everything that's on my mind, it could be great stuff that I'm passionate about. And then it's stuff that I feel like there's a weight on me. Like I'm still back in court, back in court again with the ex. She's like, write it down. So it was everything written down, whether it makes me feel good or not. It's stuff that I have on my mind and I know I have to handle. And then once we went over the list, and Amy said, okay, the sanctuary, is it something you're going to handle it right now? I know you want to, but is it something that you're going to take care of right now in the next few months? I'm like, there's no possible way I can do this right now.
Wait, and let me just chime in, if I can, to that. Just by saying that, the reason why we knew this, everyone, is because we understood what Joy's goals were. like really what she's trying to accomplish. And you can't accomplish it all now. You have to do it in layers. You have to get certain things intact before you can invite other opportunities in. Because if you allow all the opportunities to come into your world, that's when all the short circuiting happens, and that's when nothing gets done. And so we were allowing those guide the values and your goals to actually help guide that. Okay, yes, the sanctuary, 2019 launch. And suddenly Joy started to feel free. But I'll let you finish that. But I just wanted to point that out, what the motivation was behind the decisions that were being made.
Yeah, and you're right. The minute I started realizing, hey, let me put that sanctuary for 2019. Oh, I want to get a license again for real estate because I want to be an investor and I might as well make commission on my own purchases. But that's not necessary to do that right now because I'm focusing on Isogenics. I'm focusing on my children. I'm focusing on my house. There's so many other things that I'm focusing on right now because that's what I choose. So then why am I wasting any minute thinking about getting my real estate license? Instead, like Amy and I discussed today, and like I posted yesterday, let me just start looking at some investment properties. Who cares if I don't have my license when I purchase them? You know what I mean? And it's liberating because now I don't feel overwhelmed. I don't feel scattered. I'm focused. And just from that exercise alone, and you think it's so simple, but I felt, and like Amy said, a sense of freedom. Like I literally felt like something was lifted off my chest because I even had it in writing. I was able to look at things and say, that's not really that important right now. So,
and you do have to look at them. You do have to look at these things deeply. I think sometimes it's really easy to go, oh, okay, I'll do a brain dump. Oh, I'll fix my schedule. Oh, like these things are small, but the reality is that if you keep taking it a step further and you look at, say, the anxiety that you were feeling, Joy, the tremendous anxiety that is what creates then paralysis in moving forward on anything. And now all of a sudden, the main things that you want to start to grow are stagnant and stopped. And then that's your dream. So if we don't get to the priorities and get those initial layers really set, then the bigger dream of the larger brand can't come to fruition. And that would be a sorry shame, because as Jackie said earlier when she first got on the call, and I'm sure, and I know each one of us has a superstar in us, but I'm just pointing out Joy. She's a superstar. We all know it. She should be out there with this larger brand. And she has all the makings for that. But if you can't dial in on the different layers and tackle them in a way that makes sense for you in your life and where you can still maintain a life, you can't do all that and then have time for your kids because something has to give. And who doesn't want to have time for their kids if you happen to be a mom? You know what I mean? So it's about really looking at what those priorities are and letting, I want to say this, each one of you has your own priorities. So whatever Joys are, that doesn't mean that those are, Chrissy's or Adina's or Jackie's. You have your own goals, and we shouldn't be trying to keep up with the Joneses. You have to honor those goals. You have to honor the things that are important to you. I made a decision this last 5 years. One of the big things that I did for my career is I would speak all over the world, for $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 a pop. And I gave that up when I had my child because my goal was to be able to be with her, not be traveling all over the world. Somebody else might not understand that. But for me, it was absolutely critical and something that was a priority for me. So I don't need to compare myself to other people who are in my field. I need to look at who I am and how I can serve and how I can serve myself and have the things that I want. And I want that for each and every one of you. I want us to all remember that what we want is really important.
Yeah. So Amy, a lot of us on the call, and I've spoken to, I know Janet and I have this and we've discussed it, the whole focusing thing. And Jackie and I discussed this too. How can you just give us a little bit of an insight on when we have shit happening? We all do, right? The circumstances. I gave you my declaration today about I'm bigger than my circumstances. But when we have our circumstances happening and all the shit's happening, how do we keep it from tugging at us and pulling away from keeping focus on the main thing for whatever it is we want to create in our lives?
Um, that question, the answer has a lot of layers. So I think once you've identified who you are, what you want your future to look like, what those specific goals are, and what your values are, then you begin to sort your life out. And that means, how do I create this life based on the goals and the vision that I have for myself? And so you're looking at your life like a big piece of pie, or the whole pie actually, and you're going, okay, what pieces make sense now, what don't. Once you've done that, then it's about having integrity with the commitments that you actually make. So for example, Joy she's given me permission, for anyone who just joined us, to totally talk about her and rag on her. And so I'm doing that. And so thank you for being the gopher.
Sure.
But Joy wants her life to look a certain way. And she doesn't want to have anxiety, and she doesn't want to have chaos. And she wants to be able to accomplish the things that she wants to accomplish. But there was a lot of elements of her life bleeding over into the other elements of her life. So that equals chaos. It's a more complex answer here. So I know I'm probably kind of tackling multiple branches, but the easy answer to how you deal with distractions is obviously to compartmentalize the time that you spend into chunks, into those chunks that you want to honor. And that should all be guided and dictated by that higher level work that I just explained, right? So you know what you want, you know what your goals are. You have now taken those goals and you have put them into a calendar, a schedule of where you spend your time. And oftentimes we look at calendars as just this tool. It's not just a tool, it's where you spend your time. If you actually follow your calendar, it's where you spend your time. But in Joy's case, she wasn't really operating with a calendar. She's just accomplishing things, but all over the place. And when you're all over the place, you certainly cannot grow into that larger brand with that larger vision and purpose, because everything starts to bleed in. So I'm supposed to make calls for Isagenix today. Let's just say, I'm sure plenty of you have had this happen. But so-and-so's homesick, or I keep getting the text, or so-and-so called, so I'll just take the call, instead of actually honoring the time that you dedicated to making those calls, and understanding that you didn't just carve out 2 hours to spend on Isagenix. You carved out 2 hours to go out in the world and speak with people about transforming their life. Not only because it's going to change their life, but because it's also going to shift and change yours. Right? I'm assuming that you've all got your whys down and you know what it is that you're doing. But yet we will allow distractions in anyway. So the easy answer is stop the distractions, don't allow them in, have boundaries, honor the time commitments that you make, and honor the word that you give. When you actually write out a calendar and you say, I commit to X tomorrow, have a relationship with that commitment. Because we all, as moms, dads, friends, husbands, wives, we can commit to other people, and we're probably most of the time pretty good at following through. But for some reason, when we commit to the things that we say are important to us, we let those things go. That is never going to get you what you want. It's never going to get you what you want. And so developing that strong relationship with your commitment and your word is critical. And so oftentimes having accountability to help you develop those new beliefs and behaviors to actually not allow those distractions in is helpful. I think that was probably way too long-winded, Joy, and maybe too deep, but
No, that actually was helpful when you brought up the calendar, and I did post my master schedule on the squad. And for those of you that are similar to my personality, and I know some of you really, really well. So I already know off the bat there's 2 here, at least 2 of you, and I'm not going to say names, that I know are very similar to me, where, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this, but you get pulled in this direction. I know, Janet, I love you. I wasn't going to point you out. Thank you.
Well, and I said to Joy right from the beginning, what she wants to do is enormous. And not everybody has the same goals, but it still may be enormous for us, right? Because it's so far away from maybe where we're at right now. And I said to her, I will work on this with you for 6 months. If you do not master your time management skills, which means the commitments that you make to the time that you say you want to dedicate to the things that you say that are important, if you can't honor that, I won't be able to do this with you. Literally. Because just because you say you want to do something, just because you intend to do it, doesn't mean you're going to actually do it. And if you aren't going to actually do it, then why even BS yourself and anybody else for that matter?
Yeah.
So that calendar that she shared with you is where she's committing to spend her life. So you have to think about, where's your free time? Where's your family time? Right? Where's your business time? Where's your exercise and health time? Where's your food time? All these things are important. It's not because we have to have this ridiculously inflexible schedule, because we all know we have to be flexible, especially for those of you who are parents. It's impossible not to be flexible, because all good plans turn into, I'm sick and I had to stay home, and there was suddenly a last-minute parent-teacher conference and all that crazy stuff. So how do we deal with that? But if you follow your schedule, and if your schedule allows you the freedom, the transition time, and it encompasses all the different areas of your life, you will fall in love with your schedule, because it's not your schedule. It's how you live your life. And that's really important. There's just no way I could follow through and do the things that I'm doing if I didn't have that balance, and according to me, in that schedule. When it's kid time, and Joy knows this, I'm not available. Get over it. I love my 5-year-old. I was going to be that mom and try to show you a picture, but these stupid things keep coming inside of my phone, so you can't see her.
Oh, you kids see.
But you all have those things that are important to you. It can't just be about work, and it has to be about all the things that are important to you, your whole people. And you're building this incredible, it's a wellness brand. You guys represent a wellness brand. So you're teaching people holistically, really, how to be more in their life and be better in their life and be healthier in their life. And so you have to walk the talk. You cannot attract the teammates and the partners that you're looking to attract. And I know for all of you, because you're part of Joy and Jackie's team and this whole team, I know that you have and are going big places. And to go big places, you have to honor yourself. And you have to honor the things that are important to you. And you have to dedicate the time. And you have to attract powerhouse partners just like you. So you have to and when I say powerhouse, by the way, I'm not talking about strength. I'm talking about empowerment and confidence and all of those things. You guys, you want to have the best partners, because when you have the best partners who are out there growing totally awesome isogenics businesses, what's happening with you? You're growing. It's the whole reason why network marketing is so amazing. So in order for you to attract that, you have to be that.
Mm-hmm. And Amy, I wanted to actually share something with this master schedule that I was so resistant. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how many of you feel resistant to sticking to a schedule. Just the idea of, right, Diana? Just the idea. And I told Amy this. I was like, Amy, I have a resistance to the word routine. Like, I freaking hate the word routine. So when she first spoke to me about putting things on like a scheduled system, I looked at it at first and I literally had like a little bit of anxiety, because I was like, oh my God, I got to do this every week. Like, it's there. I'm stuck doing that. And I realize that now, that having this creates such a sense of peace for me, and being able to embrace routine. Like I told Amy today, I was like, I finally have a routine of every Friday night, the girls and I have sushi night. Like, we made a decision. I sat down with the girls. I showed them what Amy had taught me. I showed them the master schedule. And we're like, okay, let's choose a night where we have, no matter what, that's our night. Mom will have vegan sushi. You guys have your own sushi, but it's Friday night sushi night. And to know now that I'm able to add, activity with the kids on a Sunday, and it's blocked, that's our time together, it actually makes me feel empowered to be able to have this, instead of having this angst around the word routine or seeing this laid out like this. It completely changed me. Like, it seems so simple, but it's not. This was hugely powerful. And then I even told Amy today,
painful.
It was painful working with me. I know, I'm sorry. I apologize. It was a pain in the ass. But looking at this now, I also realized that I overcommit. I even said to Amy, even on the master schedule, I should be writing when I feed the farm crew, because Lenny and I sometimes take turns, and I didn't write that down. And then I'm realizing, how many freaking things am I trying to fit in a day? Like, who could relate to that? Like,
that is so the key right there, because it's not just about the end result, which, by the way, is totally awesome. But it's the process of doing it makes you actually realize all the things that you're doing in your life in the way that you relate to your time that are not working. Mm-hmm. Whether it's overcommitment, whether it's undercommitment, whether it's committing to the wrong things, if you will, or the things that aren't important to you, or the things that won't move your business forward. Mm-hmm. So just going through the process has you really realize this is the way. No wonder your life was like, no wonder there's chaos.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Self-inflicted. And Amy, can you talk about, because I love the whole thing that we did the other day with values. Can you talk a little bit about values, because they are our guiding principles? So
yeah, I think, and I know some of you have heard, we do assignments and things that you've never heard of. And it's interesting that Joy is having some of the most profound epiphanies by doing the ones that probably everyone on the phone has heard of before. I'm going to do a values exercise. I'm going to work on my calendar. But again, I think these words have become so cliche and so overused, and so we're numb to them. But your values, very simply, are what's important to you. Like, really. And when you start to uncover, they're already in you. This isn't something that you create from scratch. They're in you. It's who you are. But we get so detached from it that we then just kind of start making the decisions that we think. And then my leader said I was supposed to do this, so I do that. And I can't figure this marketing thing out. And nothing is being guided. And when you identify what's important to you, really, and then that becomes an extension of the choices that you actually make in your life, both personally and in business, in everything that you do, in health, in spirituality, all of a sudden your life becomes more meaningful. And let's just be honest, at the end of the day, isn't that what we all want? We just want, does anybody watch This Is Us? Remember when, oh, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. This is so my 47-year-old brain. The African-American guy, what's his name? His character's name?
Randall.
Thank you. Okay. Randall says to his to the foster child, whose name I'm also forgetting, he says something to the effect of, work really hard, Deja. Work really hard and you get a big house and have lots of money. But that's not, at the end of the day, we're all working so hard to make the money, but we're forgetting the rest of the stuff. And all the other stuff, it really is what matters. I mean, we're not going to be laying on our deathbeds going, God, I really wish I would have squeezed in another meeting. Do you know what I mean? Like, we want to have conversations that matter. We want to have conversations with each other that make a difference and we want to do the things in life that propel us forward in the way that we see ourselves. I'll be vulnerable with you and let you know that one of my biggest liabilities in business has been my ability to hire the right marketing team. We could go on about why that is, but my dad said to me, he's my biggest mentor. He said, Amy, because I found this team that I'm working with that is like so awesome, and I'm having so much fun, and I feel so creative with them. And he said to me, Amy, you can't keep beating yourself up for choices that you've made in the past, because you have like new ideas about things and you've learned things from those mistakes. So just because you chose in the past and that didn't work out doesn't mean that now you're going to choose wrong again. Like, use the new principle. It's so basic. Use the new stuff that you know and make a new choice and be okay with it. The issue wasn't that. The issue was my fear around making the wrong choice, you know? And I ended up making the right choice, everyone. Like, they are so amazing. And thank you. We are having these conversations. It's the way I always believed that marketing should be if done right. And so why I'm even sharing this with you is because our values should be dictating the choices that we make in every area of our lives. My values were never there when I chose my marketing team. I chose based on what a coach told me should be how I should be choosing a marketing team, or, do you know what I mean? Instead of going from within and looking at what I'm trying to put out in the world and making sure that those things match up. And that goes for every one of you. You're all underneath this Isagenix brand, right? This incredible brand. And you're so lucky to be part of this company, because this company is like, they're around for the long haul, right? They have achieved so much. They have an incredible brand, and they're, I'm sorry for saying, one of the few network marketing companies that really has truly stellar products. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't say that about all of them, most of them. So I just want to say that that's amazing. But each and every one of you also knows that people buy from you because of you. So they're going to buy because of Isagenix, but they're going to buy because of you, either the relationship they have or with you already, or the relationship that they're going to build with you. And that becomes more about personal branding. Who are you? Who are the people that you want to work with? What are your values? And are you surrounding yourself with those people? Are those your team players? Some of you want to travel, so you're going to build a global business. Others are like, I don't want to travel. I'm going to build a regional business. Everything should stem from your values, everything. And when you do that, you end up with what you want. Some people want an extra $2,000 a month. Some people want $100,000 a month. You don't have to be someone who wants $100,000 a month if really you'd be happy and only want to do the work of 2 to 5. Be okay with who you are. Be okay with honoring who you are and what you want, because we just have to keep looking within. I know that was probably too much of a stand on the pedestal little talk, but I just really wanted to say it.
I was actually going to ask you, Amy, about the whole branding thing, you know, and because I thought, I hired Amy and I was like, okay, I really require branding because I know that I have something. I just did not know what were the steps to get there. I knew, I had said to Amy, I have this vision of creating a compound. It's a sanctuary, but it's so much more. It's not just a sanctuary. It's a compound where there's a barn and I rent it out for weddings and event with the animals around it. Then I bring kids in with special needs and do therapeutic work with the animals for the children. Then I have a wellness center on the property where Friday nights we do meditation, Saturday morning it's yoga. Very detailed, you know. Then there's a cafe where I serve, of course, vegan desserts and then coffee. I mean, it's like, yeah, Diana, you're laughing. It was like expanding this idea. And it made so much sense when she said, but we can't brand you unless you really know who you are. And I kept thinking, I really knew who I was. There's so many different facets that I'm still learning about myself that, you know, that has helped me with working with you, Amy, in all honesty, through understanding what is it about my values, through understanding with my master schedule and then my daily schedule, understanding that I had, you know, a daily to-do list, but I also had a what's in the future to-do list. And now I'm understanding, like, yes, we're going to get to work on our branding. It just wasn't, you don't jump into the branding. You know, I don't know if you want to elaborate any more on that. But for me, it was so important because I feel like we all want to brand ourselves, but not realizing that there's steps to lead to it. And patience has become a big word for me, where instead of like keeping pressure on myself and pushing myself, I'm learning there are action steps I require to take before getting there.
I think that's really the biggest key in what you just said is that, you know, we all want to have I'll use the Isagenix example. We all want to have the already existing, you know, $1 million business or whatever it is that your goals are. But then we have to look at where you're actually at. And the only way you get there is one step at a time. And so you have to look at those small actions. So for anyone who has been feeling, say, overwhelmed because you do have a large goal, and by the way, large goal is not determined by the amount of money, because if they just want an extra $2,000 to $5,000 a month, that's life-changing for most people. So don't judge what you want. Don't judge how much money you want to make. If you're like, woo, pie in the sky, I want to make millions, go for it. But in either case, you have to take the preliminary steps first and make sure that you didn't miss anything. Because if you miss something key, you're just constantly in what I could be instead of in who I'm being today. So I think that was really insightful, Joy.
Thank you. And then Amy, also, because we're at what time? It's after 9. Do you want to perhaps, I don't know, maybe give them some action steps, give the team some action steps, and then maybe we could talk about, I don't know if you're open to doing maybe offering like a group coaching that you might want to offer, maybe take a Q&A. I mean, it's up to you.
Well, I think maybe if anyone would be brave enough, I would invite us to do a few minutes of Q&A. And the reason why is there isn't one assignment that you should all do. Everybody's in a different spot. And I think that you all showed up today for a reason, obviously, because of Joy and Jackie and your team and your relationship. And I don't know all the details of how the team is, what the hierarchy is, but I would say let's just take a few questions. And what I would ask everybody to think about is, what is that thing right now that's right in front of you that's in your way? And just like, let me try to kind of sharpshoot and get some of you moving in the direction that you need to be moving. I think that would at least leave me with knowing I could have been helpful for you. Does that work for you?
I think that's a great idea. So do you want everyone to mute, Amy?
Do you want people to just unmute when they want to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can just pick them, if someone wants to just raise their hand, and Jackie, however you want to lead it is absolutely fine with me. I think we could do a handful. I could do about 15 minutes. And I would say I would invite you in this way. The only way to truly be empowered and step into the person that you say that you want to be when you're alone or you're talking with that one person that you really trust is to be afraid and do it anyway. And I know that sometimes being in front of a group and talking about a challenge, and I don't know this group, so I'm not trying to project any fears on people that they don't have, but sometimes it's hard to get to the core. I think this feels like an incredibly safe place. And quite frankly, where we really have to get everyone is to the point where we go, who gives a shit? Yep, I suck at this and it's not working. Help me out. Because if you don't do that and you're not willing to do that, you won't get where you're trying to get to. We cannot get there without people. We absolutely can't. That has been the most valuable. I'm a coach for a reason, but I was a businesswoman first. This wasn't my first profession. And I have learned, and I have a marketing coach, I have a publicist, and I've got 3 other coaches in my life, and I listen to them daily. We need each other, and we need the team. So I invite you to be bold, and I invite you to just be vulnerable and ask for what you want. So go for it. Does someone have a challenge?
Janet.
Oh, Janet. Okay, great.
Hey, so nice, Amy, this was so valuable. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So for me, I'm actually tackling something right now where I call myself a closet hoarder.
Yeah, I understand.
So, my husband and I are retiring this year from our day-to-day business. So Isogenics will be my full-time after this year. And
congratulations.
So thank you. So I feel like I want to feel lighter is my word. So I'm lightening my load. Like I'm in my basement right now, is my office, and I'm going through closets and stuff because I feel like that right now, I feel like cleaning up the stuff
Yeah.
My word for this year is minimalizing, like being more of a minimalist.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the stuff is like weighing me down.
Okay. So tell me what the challenge is.
Um,
That all makes sense to me.
okay, so it was like finding the time, and it's
Got
actually interesting. So this week I was like, nope, I am doing 1/2 hour. I am committing to a half an hour a day.